It's Jane from Michael Vannon, and today I want to talk a little bit about Amazon's Rings of Power because with the introduction of Elendil in episode 3, I'm back to being excited about the series, and just in case the next episode dampens my spirits again, I can go back to this video and remember happier times. Like many of you, I've been looking forward to this show for many years, and throughout that time, particularly over the last year, the anticipation and build-up have been a bit of a roller coaster ride. Back in 2019, I was over the moon when Amazon announced the involvement of Tom Shippey and John Howe in the production. John Howe is a Tolkien artist who served as chief conceptual designer in Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy back in the early 2000s. He was also a consultant in the Hobbit films. Tom Shippey, for his part, is a British medievalist and a leading academic expert in the works of Tolkien, and like Howe, Shippey was involved in the production of Jackson's trilogy. So this sense of continuity between the old films and Amazon's adaptation was reassuring because Jackson, in my opinion's adaptation of Tolkien's work was like a perfect 9.5/10. Over the last year, I thoroughly enjoyed the progressive announcement and the marketing of the various cast members. I was ecstatic when we got the visuals in which we saw Valinor and the two trees. I would say that another memorable moment was when Amazon dropped the 23 posters where we saw the costumes of the various characters. That was super fun. It was great marketing and it kept Tolkien fans busy for days, so I love that. That being said though, the build-up to the show was also marked by some questionable moments, such as when they announced at one point that they'd be an intimacy coordinator, which is super not Tolkien. And there was also that time when they announced that Tom Shippey, the Tolkien scholar, would be leaving, so that was questionable. And then like when they dropped that Vanity Fair article in which they announced that they would be compressing thousands of years of events into a single point of time, which doesn't make any sense because those thousands of years are instrumental to the jealousy and the kind of FOMO that builds up in the hearts of the mortal Numenorians vis-a-vis the immortality of the elves. Those thousands of years, they paved the way for Sauron to be made chief advisor to the king of Numenor and slowly turned the Numenorians from the side of the Valar, so like the good, to the worship of Melkor, like the dark side. And the idea that serving Melkor would make all their dreams come true, and that was the only way for them to achieve the immortality that they wanted so desperately. And spoiler alert, things did not go as planned. It was a catastrophe. Not only did Sauron convince Ar-Pharazôn, the king of Numenor, to implement an extremely tyrannical rule where killing, enslaving, and gruesomely slaying innocent folks, that was like a national sport, but Sauron also convinced Ar-Pharazôn to attack Valinor and demand immortality by force, which was a huge no-no because all of this led to the drowning of Numenor. This is a huge simplification, but if you want the whole story, you can read a Calebeth at the end of the Silmarillion or Appendix A at the end of Lord of the Rings, because who knows how Amazon will tell that story. So the news of the timeless compression was not good, but another weak moment for me was the first teaser trailer that was released just a couple days after that magazine. It was during the Super Bowl, and I didn't like that teaser. It was generic, underwhelming, and it didn't feel like Tolkien. However, what I did like was that shot of the young soldier in battle. The look of despair and panic and fright on his face as the orcs surrounded him really gripped me and gave me genuine Tolkien, Silmarillion, Jackson, Lord of the Rings vibes and chills. I was even more excited when it was speculated that was Finrod Filagond, who in Tolkien's book is the eldest of Galadriel's three brothers. And he's one of my favorite, definitely if not my favorite, on my list of top 3 elves of the entire history of Arda. So as the months passed and Amazon continued to release trailers and promotional material, these elements continued to pale in comparison to that one shot of the soldier in battle. I will say though that during the weekend of the San Diego Comic-Con, which took place about 6 weeks before they released the first 2 episodes, I watched and listened to interviews of the cast and crew, and it was comforting to hear them speak about their love and respect for Tolkien and the lore. This love for Tolkien and the lore was, from folks involved in the production, was a key success factor in Jackson's first set of films. So this continuity was also very reassuring. But then September came upon us, and the first 2 episodes came out, and it was disappointing for me. It wasn't a total failure because there are a handful of interesting moments, some good characters and storylines. The acting is also fine, the visuals for the most part are good, the music is great. It was good to see Khazad-dûm. Disa is fantastic, the Harfoots are fine, the stranger is interesting, and I'm sure that the characters of Elrond and Gil-galad will rise to the amazing characters they are in the book, because I really like the casting choice for those 2 specifically. However, what they did to Galadriel is sacrilegious. Galadriel in the Second Age is a respectable, wise, mature, and married Noldorian princess who had spent a good number of years under the mentorship of Melian, a very wise and powerful Maya. I don't know who this impulsive, over-the-top, and angsty young woman is, but it's not Galadriel from the books, which is a huge disappointment. And by the way, I have nothing against Morfydd Clark, who is the actress playing Galadriel. She's fantastic, it's just the material that's problematic. Luckily, in episode 3, we finally got to meet Elendil, which was great because at last we have a strong, noble, heroic, and interesting character to root for. So far, I adore Lloyd Owen as Elendil. He also has a fantastic voice and a strong presence, but we can also tell that he is wise and even super kind. Like, in a nutshell, he has that leader of men quality in him that is essential for the portrayal of a man as important as Elendil. He's exactly how I picture Númenóreans, and I can't wait to keep following this super interesting character. He could have been taller though, because Númenóreans are supposed to be very tall, but that's okay, I can forgive that. Now, to give a quick and dirty recap of the depiction of Elendil in Tolkien lore, Elendil was born in Númenor at the end of the Second Age, during that time when Sauron had implemented the worship of Morgoth. Elendil, however, was among the faithful. The faithful were those among the Númenóreans who remained loyal to the Valar and stood against the enslaving of innocent folks, of the human sacrifices, and all of the barbaric practices of Ar-Pharazôn, as he was advised to do by Sauron. So, when Númenor was eventually destroyed and plunged into the sea by the creator Eru Ilúvatar as a way to punish the Númenóreans for sailing to the Undying Lands, or for breaking the ban of the Valar, which was forbidden, Elendil and his 2 sons, Isildur and Anarion, and the rest of the faithful were spared because luckily Elendil's father, he oversaw the coming of the destruction of Númenor and advised his son to pack up and go. This is important because the faithful eventually made it to Middle-earth and founded Arnor and Gondor. And it's worth pointing out that they took with them from Númenor to Middle-earth the Palantiri, the Ring of Barahir, the Sword Narsil, and a seedling of Nimloth, which eventually grew to become the White Tree of Gondor. Later, at the end of the Second Age, and we see this in Jackson's prologue to the Fellowship, Elendil leads the last alliance of men and elves alongside High King Gil-galad against Sauron. And in their defeat of Sauron, Elendil is killed and he is succeeded by Isildur. It was therefore, very important to get the character of Elendil right, and so far I am satisfied with Lloyd Owen's portrayal. The character gives off the noble, kingly vibes of a man that earns the respect of those around him. I definitely got Aragorn vibes from him, which is super appropriate. And as a huge bonus, Lloyd Owen seems to know a lot of the lore too, so that's great. Super happy about that. I will say though, I was a little disappointed that they had the character of Elendil join Elrond and Halbrand in the national sport that is to school and talk down to Galadriel. We see this in the scene when Elendil compares her to his young children. I think he meant it in like an adoring father figure kind of way, but this should not be happening because even like in the show, when she introduces herself to Queen Regent Mariel in episode 3, she introduces herself as Galadriel of the Noldor, daughter of the Golden House of Finarfin, and commander of the northern armies of High King Gilgalad. That last title is a bit of an exaggeration, but the first two are spot on. Galadriel is Middle-earth royalty, and she's been around since the years of the trees, and she spent time under the mentorship of Amaya, so there is no reason why she should be getting schooled by Halbrand or Elrond, while being one of the wisest and oldest elves in Middle-earth. It doesn't make sense. Anyways, maybe Galadriel will grow on me, but in the meantime, I'm glad that Elendil has been brought into the Galadriel's Durgaland, because it balances off some of the cringy Galadriel stuff. I guess we can say that Elendil has single-handedly restored my hope in the series, and I hope that the writing does him justice going forward. So far, Amazon has taken some creative liberties with the character, like giving him a daughter, which so far is fine. I'm okay with it. I don't get it, but I'm okay with it. We'll see. I look forward to the next episode and the progression of the Numenorian storyline. I also hope that the various plot lines, they mesh well and come well together as the show continues, so that we get something that stands alongside Jackson's trilogy. It doesn't have to be a perfect 9.5, 10, but like, give me an 8. I'm rooting for an 8. And yeah, we'll see. And so I guess that's it for today. If you have any thoughts about Elendil on the show, you can definitely let me know in the comments. Just drop a note, and if you wish, like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really does help. Farewell!